Okay, so this is chapter 7, Laws of Exponents, and we're going to start off with the really basic laws. Okay, so you have a law for zero exponents, which says any power with a zero exponent equals, anybody know? Nope. Equals 1. And that's what a lot of people say. They say if it has a zero exponent, it must be equal to 0. If it has a zero exponent, that means it's equal to 1. Never forget that. That's very important in algebra. If the exponent is 0, it's equal to 1. So let's do some examples. If I have 3 to the 0 power, what does that equal?
1.
1. It's not a trick question. If I have 12 to the 0 power, what does that equal?
1.
1. If I have 1 million to the 0 power, what does that equal?
1.
1. Make sense? If I have -4 to the 0 power, what does that equal?
1.
1. Okay, so no matter what it is, if I have x to the 0 power, what does that equal? 1. Who said x? Anything to the 0 power equals 1. Anything. Miss James to the 0 power equals 1. Okay? Anything. Alright? Now the other law I want to show you is about negative exponents. Okay, so let's do negative exponents. If you have a negative exponent, let's see how I can write this. I'm going to say with negative exponents, how can I say this? With negative exponents, move the base across the fraction. Now that makes absolutely no sense right now, probably to most of you, but we're going to see what that means. Move the base, with the negative exponents, move the base across the fraction. So for instance, if you take any random number like 3 to the -2, that's a negative exponent, right? Yes? Is the exponent negative? Okay. How can I make 3 a fraction? We would say 3 over 1. Okay? So in order to get this exponent, to solve this, we have to get this exponent positive. We don't do negative exponents. So what you're going to do is you're going to move this down. So there's a 1 here, so now it's going to be 1 times 3. Now this becomes positive. Is there anything left up here if I move this down? Is there anything left on top if I move this down? Do you see anything else? There's nothing else there. So we're going to write a 1 to fill in the space. Okay? So now what's 3 to the 2nd power? 3 times 3?
9.
9. And 1 times 9? 9. Okay? This will get easier. You'll start to see it in shortcuts. So for instance, like 5 to the -3, it's just going to be 1 over 5 to the 3rd. And then you can use your calculator to do 5 times 5 times 5, and you'll get 125. These are just the basics. When we start to do problems, it'll get a little bit more complicated. didn't want to say reciprocal because you don't really flip it, okay? You just move the number down. Okay? Let's do some more laws. Let's do multiplication. If you multiply powers with the same base, you can add, I'll just say add, exponents. So if you're multiplying powers with the same base, you can add the exponents. So for example, if you have 3 to the second power times 3 to the fourth power, do these two powers have the same base? Do we know what the base is? The base is the big number. They both start with a B. Base is the big number, exponent is the little number. So do these two powers have the same base?
Yeah.
What's the base? 3. So if they have the same base, you keep the base. All you have to do is add the exponent. So what is the answer going to be? 3 to the 6th power. So 3 to the second times 3 to the fourth equals 3 to the 6th. And the reason why you could do that is because 3 to the second means 3 times 3, right? What does 3 to the fourth mean? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So if you're multiplying this times this, how many 3's is that? So if they have the same base, you add the exponents. Okay? Now let's do division. So think about it. If when you're multiplying, you add the exponents, what do you think you're going to do when you're dividing? Huh? You subtract. Good. So when you're dividing, divide powers with the same base. Subtract the exponents. Okay, so when you're dividing powers with the same base, you subtract the exponents. So for instance, I'm going to do some variables. Let's say I have x to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd. Do I have the same base? Do they have the same base? What's the base?
X.
X. So what would be the answer here if you subtract the exponents?
X2.
Very good. X to the second power. It's just that simple. The multiplying and dividing is pretty simple. Usually the one that people have the most trouble with is negative exponents. That's the one that people usually struggle with. 0 exponents is pretty easy. Multiplying, dividing, those are all easy. The 0 is pretty easy. Like I said, the negative is what people usually have trouble with. Okay, so we'll do some examples now. Just stop it.